All right, guys, welcome to week 7 of Nerd Talk Saturdays. Again, I'm James with ZeroDayJames. I got Nikki over here. She's in town with Cyber Vixen, and I'm just going to go through this. What do we got? Pat, Kenny, Adlene, Dion, and we got a guest with us today, and that is Jacob with Vodka Nut. Jacob, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got into IT?
Sure, yeah. So my name's Jacob Penovich. I go by the handle Vodka on most platforms, sometimes with or without 3 sevens, depending on if someone stole my handle. So I work right now at Raymond James Financial in a new program called Secure Design Consulting. So we're kind of a new startup internal program that's under governance, risk, and compliance. And we work with the project teams to make sure that they're introducing security really early on, rather than trying to come up with a solution at the end. So I do that. I'm also a freelance pen tester. I do some technical editing work, and I've started to create a lot of open training platforms to try to get a lot of the knowledge out there for the local community. So I partnered, there's a local cybersecurity guild where we're at in Tampa, Florida called the Undercroft, which got their swag and their little poster in the background. But it's a member-led training. So you'll have different people, red team, blue team, different people doing policy talks that all offer up the free training courses, and there's some members-only special things that we get to do too. So it's been expanding out. We're doing some really cool stuff there. But yeah, I was listening to some of the previous episodes, and actually I think I took a similar path to a lot of people here. So I started off as a kind of pastry chef, and I was considering going to culinary school. And there was this advertisement on the radio for the school called Fast Train. This was probably about 2004 or so. Yeah, they're gone now. But, yeah, so I went there. It was like 10 grand. My dad helped me co-sign and ended up screwing up his credit, but I got like my A+, M+, MCSE, and CCNA, and then I went and got a technical job at America Online, where we'd be the support center when people couldn't get online. And from there, we moved over to like Verizon Business, and then went to a company here locally called Creative Recycling. And that's where really my IT career and info security career first started off, because this was like before it was a career field. So they were an electronics recycler. So when people get rid of their computers, we would come out, pick them up, wipe them, refurbish them, resell them. So I started there building about like 120 computers a day, and really getting my feet wet, like actually building up rigs. I was doing some gaming rigs on the side for people, and we got into a situation where we had a bunch of customers that needed all their data wiped securely. So that's when I started getting into like data security. Built a whole wiping rig just using like free open source tools, because we really didn't have a budget, and worked my way up to management there. So the cool thing there was like literally thousands of computers were coming in every day. So if you needed new hardware, you just went out to the warehouse, took it right off the shelf. Like, oh, we need a server, we need a DVR, just go take it out, sign it off, and then buy the licensing and set it up. So I got to build an entire network from the ground up, build a customer service engine, build a call center, like literally running the phone lines and punching down a 66 block. So it was like 5 years of experience gave me probably about 10 to 12 years of real world knowledge.
That's awesome. And I have a question about, and when you had your 100 machines, how did you deploy them? Did you automate that like with WDS or SSCM or anything like that? Or was...
So I used FOSS, free open source Ghost, or FOG rather. And so it was basically just doing like a PXE boot of the
PXE boot. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So like they would spin up, we had a little server going, it would wipe the drives, and then I had a script that would record the log. So we'd have like the serial number of the hard drive, the number of sectors, and how many passes we did. Because a lot of people get hung up on this DoD wipe that everyone wants, which the DoD wipe hasn't existed since '97. It's not a thing. Yeah. It was.
Did you use Blanco for that?
They were bought, and we tried to use them, but they were very cost prohibitive because they got smart. You used to be able to do like a site license where you paid like 10 grand and you could do every hard drive. Now it's like $1.50 per hard drive.
Yeah, that's funny because I did exactly the same. Exactly the same job.
Yeah, we had really no budget, so it was funny too, because like the way I got into cloud was we started when Rackspace was first getting big. We moved a bunch of our servers up to the cloud platform, and like a week after we had our entire cloud set up, the building caught fire, burned down. we were able to drop ship a bunch of thin clients, and we were back up and running in less than 24 hours. Just me and my boss. His name was Mike Caesar. So I'm like, that was my first experience with like a real DR scenario. Can we get it up? And we were down for less than 24 hours. We were able to service our customers. And
those are like all sorts of little things like fires and earthquakes and stuff with stuff I was learning in my Security Plus.
yeah.
Just actually deal with that. It sounds pretty cool. Wait, hold on. Just to run it back, what exactly is the DoD wipe that you were talking about?
So yeah, so the DoD wipe used to be like when hard drives were a certain size, you'd have to do multiple passes to make sure you zeroed out all the data. So it used to be 3 standard wipes, but just
correct.
random or pseudo-random data. Since then, they've now gone to, if it's government related, physical destruction, because there's just too much of a risk. So yeah, there hasn't been a DoD wipe for years, and most people, if you're doing 1 or 2 passes, like it's going to cover a majority of the stuff. It's more cost effective for someone to infiltrate your organization and get the data out than to try to get your hard drives. But it was scary.
Hey Jacob, I actually heard you talking. For one, I'm actually in Lutz. I didn't know you're in Tampa.
yeah. Well, I'm in Safety Harbor. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're down the street. So I actually do DoD, and that's what we do with our hard drives. We used to do the 3 wipe, and now they just come on site, shred them.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Yeah, and we have to keep track of that because of NIST and all that good stuff.
Oh.
So yeah,
it's
not fun.
I remember the first time I tried to use one of those little plate degauzers, no one told me you had to like hold the hard drive to the magnet. So like I was at Florida Power and Light at the time, and I was wiping the hard drive, and it just went flying across the room like a bullet. Yeah, and from there, I really got into the information security side. I was working as a manager there, and then I started working at MSP locally, and that's when I got into like network security and a lot of the penetrations testing. And it was cool because they were a small organization, kind of like a startup. We had maybe 30 employees. So you got to wear a lot of hats, and real trial by fire. You'd go from like one phone call where it's a mom or pop shop, 3 computers, to next phone call you're troubleshooting a bank that has locations in multiple states. You got to deal a lot with different networking. So that's also when, since we didn't have a training budget, I got really into open source training, a lot of the free training, and I'm trying to cultivate that and give that back because we need more people. But a lot of the training is so cost prohibitive, it's ridiculous. Like, a SANS course when I first started off was about $3,000. I thought that was bad. When I went last year, it was $7,000 for the class and the cert. But it is worth every penny. I have never gone to a SANS meeting and not been immediately able to come and bring what I learned, put it right into practice, and save time or money. So it's definitely worth it, but it's very cost prohibitive. So I'm trying to bring a lot of that down. In February at the Undercrop, I actually did a intro to wireless hacking course, which was, like a lot of people, they've been on YouTube, they know how to use the automated tools. This was more in depth, like how do you manually capture the handshakes? How do you do man in the middle attacks? How do you crack the password? And I'm working on a couple different stages from that, which I was trying to do this month, but 10,000 new corona cases, I don't think we're leaving. So
no.
I'm trying to pivot that and make that a remote training. So the other challenge was making labs where a lot of the wireless capture equipment's expensive. Like some of those air cards you guys gave away, they might be 40 to 60 bucks. So I made a lot of prepackaged labs where even if you didn't have an air card, like here's all the traffic that's been captured and sanitized, you can still go through the cracking process. You can still get something out of it. So
yeah, you have the WinCap file.
Yep. Yeah. And so we've been doing that. And we had another gentleman there, Nestor. He did a great talk on the Ponagachis, which are these little Raspberry Pi devices that just off and capture handshakes. They're amazing. So they're doing a lot of cool training down there. And I'm trying to keep a lot of the stuff I do open to the community. I target, high schools, colleges, trying to get that information out there. So you're not going out having to spend a couple grand. So
that's true.
That's where I'm at now. And actually, speaking of, I just got the EJPT certification package for my birthday. I'm going to be doing that later this afternoon, so I'll let you guys know how that goes.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Thinking about all of us were going to end up studying for that one and see how we all do help each other out through it. So what's been your experience so far of studying for it?
So it's more auditing right now because a couple people asked for it, and it was actually they have a promo going on right now where it's dramatically reduced price-wise. I think the normal price for the Elite package is like $1,400. So to the end of the year, they're selling it for $499. And they have another coupon going on right now. It's RED, RED-025, which gives you another 25% off any Red Team course. So I got the Elite package. It was like $370, but that includes all the training. You can download the materials, you can download the video, and then you get 3 retake attempts on your.
That's not bad.
Wow, that's good.
And I think you said a voucher that doesn't expire as well, right?
Yep, yeah, and the voucher doesn't expire. So if you buy it now and you get sucked into something and it takes you a year to get to it, you can still do it. So I definitely recommend that over something like the CEH. The CEH, I found the training to be very useful. The test was like dealing with someone who was bipolar wrote it. It was ridiculous. Like one of the questions was, if you're doing an Nmap scan and you wanted the fastest scan, is it T-4 or T-1? And then the next question is, what is the syntax to perform a heartbleed on an Apache server? I'm like, what the hell? So yeah. I actually forgot I signed up for that, and I had gone out with a friend for his birthday, and I came in with a massive hangover and still passed that test, like 20 points more than I needed. So yeah,
pass.
Nice.
so I definitely think the EJPT is, if you're getting used to or want to go into penetration testing, it gives you labs specifically tailored to the different things. So if you're doing like one lab just specifically on password spraying, it's a dedicated environment for you, and then you can run in and actually get your hands on those tools. So that's one of the things.
And it sounds like it's pretty useful for someone that doesn't have a powerful machine either, because you have their cloud environment. So right, like you have their own virtual environment that you can just boot up Kali and just go to town, instead of following this and setting up your own virtual lab with Metasploitable and Kali, etc.
And that's really one of the best things you can do is like you have to get hands on, especially in this field, because a lot of this is very what's the word, perishable. It's a perishable skill set. If you're not doing it all the time,
you lose it.
I had my CCNA, but the other day I was in a switch trying to remember how the hell do I do spanning tree, and I had take good notes. Like
that's me.
Yeah. So like that's the best thing, because your brain is designed to biologically find patterns and make decisions. You're not meant for memory. Memory is fallible. So if you take really good notes, it helps out. I have like 4 or 5 cherry trees depending on if it's wireless attacks versus web versus just general stuff. So that way you can refer back to it.
I took a lot of notes in that when I did my OSCP.
Yeah, I tried what was it, KeepNote, or not KeepNote, but the with the other notepad with the black logo. Yeah,
Evernote.
This used to be in Kali by default. My friends are screaming at me as they watch this replay, but yeah. But I have some people that swear by Juniper Notes. Some people like Dradis. Anything that works for you. Markdown.
Writing a notepad.
Yeah. We have one guy at the guild. He uses Markdown and Notepad, and then it just you take the Markdown language. He runs it through a script, and it automatically puts his write-up on a website. So that's how he does like all his hack the box write-ups, things like that. And that way it's a lot easier to translate, especially if you're doing like a report for people.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. And from a aspect of being both an interviewee and someone who's hired people, those type of hands-on things are going to set you apart. If I'm looking at 2 people that are exactly the same, but this guy on the weekend builds a lab or works for a charity organization, which is a great way to build your skill set. Go volunteer your time, help set up a network. You're not getting paid for it, but you're getting that experience. That's going to set you apart. That shows me that you have that ability to learn something. And nowadays, it's not that hard. Even like something like over here, I have a couple Raspberry Pis. There's, what was it, CyberArm's book. He mentions the 4-reason kernel with the sticky keys, or sticky Linux, Kali sticky Linux.
Sticky fingers.
Yeah, there we go. But that guy has a damn vulnerable Pi. So I have, 2 different ones that you just plug into a network. They're filled with web apps, and you can plug them in and start, hitting away at it, and this costs maybe $60. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Nice. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, my first lab was a dual core laptop that I just installed VirtualBox on, and I would download. I would download Vuln Hub ISOs and just do one at a time. And that's the best way to do it. You know, you don't have to go out and buy a server right away. If you want to save some money, pro tip, go to pawn shops right after Father's Day or end of the year school sales. Because people get brand new stuff, they throw their old stuff away. It's great if you're doing data forensics. You'd be surprised what you find on these people's computers. But you know, one of the things I like to do, if you go to like a tower there, go on the back. It's a little shady, but flip the power switch from the 120 down to the 220 voltage, and it won't power on. And then you're like, hey, I'll give you $50 for parts. You know, they probably ripped the person off trying to get that computer anyway, but now I got an ESXi box or a Proxmox server for my home lab.
Yep.
That's clever.
You should do that here. Switch the power.
You can't do that there.
We have 230 here.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, switch it to 120. 120 will usually give you like a BIOS message or something crazy. Or you guys might see pretty white smoke though at that point.
Yeah, it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what I'm doing now. Just like I said, trying to get back in the community, try to get those resources out there, compiling different lists of free training, things people can do. There's a lot of things out there like Udemy. A lot of the Pluralsight stuff I think is free right now during the COVID. And there's even OpenSecurityTraining.net has a lot of packages that people have put out there. So it has like Security Plus, CISSP stuff, mobile forensics. And it's designed for teachers where they can just download the entire zip file. It has lesson plans, slide decks, and exercises all in there. So I'm trying to get some more things up there.
That's pretty neat.
Nice.
No. So, yeah, it's funny too because I was listening to some previous talks and it sounded almost like the school I went to. Some of the other people here may have gone to too. Because if you look up Fast Train now, it's Fast Train Florida, massive scam. Guy spent like $2 million on a yacht.
Yeah, I went to LaSalle. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
They're called Florida Technical something now. It's on West Shore. I went there for my CCNA boot camp, and I learned more outside of the class than inside of the class. So I was like, this was a waste of $2,000. So
yeah, sometimes it's going to be what you take from it, because there's been a lot of training that's been cheaper, and I like to go through like the EJPT that I'm doing now. I've been a pen tester for almost a decade, but going through these classes, these courses with fundamentals, I'll either learn a tool I didn't use before that may be useful, or hey, there's like a little piece of information that for some reason or another I didn't get the first time. I may have been distracted by my phone or it just didn't sink in, and that kind of refresher knowledge helps build back up.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny you say that because I had the same issue, because that's how I met Kenny. And there's another group that we have. I've been slacking on that with Mai and everyone. I've been ignoring. I'm sorry, guys. I love you guys. But like with the whole, they were doing like a CCIE type, doing CCIE enterprise. And then there's one kid that's like, how old?
He's 17. Michael. Yeah, he's 17.
17. And he's like, fucking running circles around me. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, kid, but keep going with your DMP, DGP, fucking autonomous system, doing this and that and that. And I did those training. I was, like you said, like a couple minutes ago, like I was like, quote unquote, balls deep into networking, the routing, switching, all that stuff, like really hardcore. And, I did my CCIE in 2015. So when actually I just packed my little plaque. I found it, but because I don't really care about that thing. I didn't do it for money or job. I did it for like how we did it, like with friends, and we just did it because we had $1,600 just sitting in our drawer. I don't fucking know, but so we did it. It was like 4 of us, and 2 of us passed, and 2 of us failed. And if I would have failed, I would have said I would have never tried again because it was not something I wanted to do anyway. But yeah, now you give me like that. Like, yeah, I can set up spanning tree. That's, man, if I couldn't do that, holy shit, I'll be, I would burn that thing.
Same.
Some things, if you don't use it all the time, like even when I did like a few Windows Server 29, like Windows, VMware, I'm very, very proficient. That's like my bread and butter, per se. And same thing with the cloud, AWS. And because I worked for a cloud company for nearly 2.5 years. So doing a lot of VMware, NSX, all that world of things. And sometimes if you don't use it, like now the company I'm in, it's a smaller company. it's like one host, you know,
Yep.
5 servers, 5 VMs, 40 users. It's like, you know, like you don't really get to use, like, for example, WDS, you know, these kind of utilities that I'm used to using in an enterprise. Now I'm trying to, you know, I'm not
Yeah, I mean,
trying to convince
they'll
someone.
have maybe a print server and like a network share. Like,
That's exactly
they
it.
don't need a whole lot.
Yeah, and that's it. Like the predecessor was like manually mapping drives. I'm like, fuck this. I just wrote a batch script and just did it.
Exactly.
And but I guess when you have, like, you know, 5 drives, it's like right click, whack, server name, whack, share, connect, and you're good. You're good to go for, like, you know, it's easy to do that. You know, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you can get 5 drives mapped instead of, you know, maybe, you know, and just to automate it, or you can just go into Active Directory, create a group policy, you know, go to preferences, add a new map drive, create your drives, and put it to the UNC path, and call it a day, do GP update / force, and you're good to go. And so.
Yeah, I agree.
By access, like who should be accessing what drive based on their department, and you have more control of the GPO.
Exactly, yeah. But that's tricky, that you said, because a lot of people, and it was funny because I was talking to a friend the other day. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but a lot of people think they know Windows permissions, right? But a lot of people don't differentiate share permission versus NTFS permissions. So if I create a share saying whack, server name, whack, Jacob, right? And Jacob, I have a document, but now I created NTFS, I gave him permissions, but now if he goes whack, server name, if I didn't give him the share permission, he's not going to be able to access it. So then it doesn't take precedence over the NTFS share. Right.
Yeah, and even with local shares, and once
Totally.
you expand out to like AD, like if you have you know, your AD trust set up incorrectly, then you have other people that have access, because in their side they're given permission to read all from whatever AD group that, you know, you have a trust relationship with. So.
Totally. So everyone thinks like Active Directory is super easy. They just think it's right click, create a fucking user, and you know Active Directory. People don't even know what ADSI edit is. It's like, you don't know AD, dick. You know, like, you don't know.
Well, and the other side too, like a lot of the automation, I like to preach that, and people are like, oh, you know, you learned all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'm not like a programmer. I know some scripts to make things easier, specifically because I am lazy. I don't like to do things 100 times, so I try to teach that Tao of laziness. Like, do it right the first time. You don't have to go back 5 other times. You know, people give me stuff like, you know, why are you doing this stuff on the weekends in your lab? Because I'm going to break it here rather than break it in production and then have my phone blow up and not be able to sleep. And, you know, there's even other little things. So like one of the things I was trying to build out for the 2nd level Wi-Fi class, I get the question a lot, how do you practice Wi-Fi? Because you can't just go out and de-auth your neighbors legally. I mean, you can just, you know, so
hey, goes Dion.
So there was an article I saw on Medium.
For that.
Yeah. I think it was either Medium or Nullbyte. They had an article where these group of people came up with a game called the Chicken Man game. And what it does is like you have a little access point that you connect to, and it's got a SSID. You crack it, get in. There's a little web page with 3 buttons, like red team, blue team, green team. You hit the button, the light lights up, and then that team starts scoring points. And then the SSID resets to a harder password, and you have to go all over again. So you set up a couple of these. So I actually went through and created a little platform that you just soldered together. We have about 20 of these little things that you put out, and now we have 20 access points. So yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
So I'll be like, you know, putting up diagrams.
That's based on it's based on ESP32, I think.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's ESP32 micro, and then we have some full size ones like on a breadboard. So I was going to just, you know, walk people through how to.
A Node MCU.
Yep. So MCU, yeah. We have them set up, and
pretty nice. You have some WPS capabilities there.
10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, so you can set up like 20 of those, and then you can practice all day and not go to prison because, you know, you're not technically violating FCC guidelines. So.
Cool.
It's funny, you guys were mentioning how if you don't use something, you lose it. That happened just the other day. I had to create a folder, and they wanted people, you know, a group of people that have read-only and people. So I got there, created a folder, and next thing you know, they was like, oh, I can't see the folder. So I'm like, it's been a minute since I did that. I was like, what did I do? Forgot to add the users and the security group into that folder. So, you know, so I go back, I'm like, my thing is, I know the Active Directory side, but I don't use it often because I'm always on the networking side. So I always go back to my lab because I have a Hyper-V set up at home and I practice on there just to learn it. So like you said, break it on your home and not production. So
Exactly.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And, make a website, like a little Wix site, show off your progress, show off your projects, put that in your resume. That's going to help set you apart. We have a guy, Ivan, who did that. He works with our Cyber Threat Center. He does a lot of stuff with the like local CTFs and USF and FSU here locally have the little hacker chapters and things like that. So
Do you have a website where you post all of your just the things that you've been working on?
Say again?
Do you have a website where you post all the things that you've been working on?
I do not, because I just recently got it approved. So the company I work at, you have to have outside business activity approved, so it's not a conflict. So I have a website that we're spinning up now, mostly just like a landing page for contacting, but I'm going to start blogging and throwing up a lot of those different things out there and trying to get some of those free training materials on like my GitHub and different things so people can access those.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that all the viewers that are watching this are going to want to try some of those little things that you showed on the screen right now too.
Yeah, definitely. The hard part's trying to get all the stuff together while working basically 2 full-time jobs. So.
Oh, no, I get it.
Yeah, there'll be a little delay. Yeah.
No, but and Jacob, how come you don't put like a YouTube channel together and just put some stuff out there?
I've looked at it. Mostly just time right now. So it's kind of weird too, because I went into the career field and then ended up going back to school a couple of years ago because I got through ISC Squared, the people who do CISSP and SSCP, the local chapter, I got a full ride scholarship to go back to school, which was amazing. So that's what, I went back, finished up my bachelor's, just finished up this year. So now that I have that free time, I'll probably start looking into doing something more like that.
Yeah. And that'd be cool. Then you can actually make, Udemy courses for free, or you can make a couple of dollars. Like, what's his name? The Cyber Mentor?
Oh, yeah. Heath. Yeah.
Heath Adams?
Yeah. And his course I definitely recommend as well, just from someone who's been in the field. He does a good job of, just slow explaining and, how to build your own AD lab. So
I haven't seen his stuff, but pretty good. That's what I was telling Adlene about.
Yeah. I liked his Linux one better than the Windows one. The Windows one only because it overlaps a lot of stuff that was in the new OSCP materials. So there was a little bit of overlap, but I think if you've never been exposed, that would be a great course to take.
I actually bought both his practical penetration testing, the Linux privilege escalation, and the Windows. Obviously, I hadn't had a chance to take a look at any of them. But
yeah, of course not. That's what James does.
Oh, yeah. I think between that and Humble Bundle too, check those out.
Yeah, if you want to know James, he buys things and lets it collect dust.
Yeah.
You see, the most recent one that's collecting dust right now is this capture card that was supposed to be this figure right now.
That's awesome.
That's what's gonna happen to his giveaway.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Who wants it?
Dion, what's going on with you, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
You doing
I'm
all right?
fucking around with the Raspberry Pi Zero and with the 3. Install Kali Linux again. Configure the screen. Now I get a tiny 1.4-inch screen, and I want to make a Ponagotchi from it.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's not supported yet, so I have to figure out how to do it. Can help.
Yeah, I remember when I tried to do that over my 3.2 screen, I think I just discovered that it's not sharing, it's not streaming the video, but it's stamping screenshots, and those screenshots are loaded into a web app. So you're probably gonna have some bash scripting to have your screen working on that.
Yeah, we'll see it. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Install Kali NetHunter again and Flash.
That's pretty nice too.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy this week. Just reinstall everything and update it, upgrade it.
I'm not sure, but I think that you can have some cracking capabilities over your Ponagotchi and Kali NetHunter with Raku TXT brute forcing,
cracking the handshakes with the phone.
Yeah, you can have your Pwnagotchi sharing the handshakes to your
Oh.
phone. Yeah, via Bluetooth
that's
tethering
nice.
and having some cracking capabilities over your phone.
Okay. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Slow, but fun. It's possible.
Yeah.
You could probably do something like have it use the phone to like drop it in a Dropbox and then have like a server, basically sync up that Dropbox and start running through anything in this folder. So
Oh, yeah.
by the time you get home, there's your hashes in your pot file.
Right, that's
Yeah,
not a bad idea.
that's what I was talking about on the latest Saturday Nerd Talk about the VPS. You can have a Docker, you can have a Kali Linux Docker, and pull up the handshakes and crack them there.
Nice.
Okay, well, nice.
So you guys have a time limit
that's
on
what I've been that's what I've been doing this week. So.
No. Great.
And what about you, Adlene or Kenny?
Oh,
Quiet, especially
haven't been over anything technical this week as I'm starting a new blog. As Vadkanat was talking about, it's time to share what we're doing and everything. So I'm working on some WordPress plugins and everything to have all my design looking good, and I'm going over particular design because I want it to look like a log file.
Okay.
Where you're browsing my blog, you're gonna check a project that is called, I don't know, like project.log, and you're gonna have all the logs I've been through when I was building that, all my thoughts, everything that was a bug, how I fixed it, and what I've tried but didn't work or worked, and everything that. And I'm pretty sure that people are needing that more than casual tutorials that like.
Yeah, I think so. Casual tutorials, you can find them everywhere.
Send that command again, put this in that command, and that's it. You have a handshake. But
yeah, exactly.
That nobody's gonna learn like that.
True.
What's the name of your blog, just for the viewers to check it out? I'm gonna include it in the description below, but still.
Oh yeah, it's not ready yet. I mean, it's totally empty, but it's crashlogs.com. Yeah, I called it crashlogs because it's literally my crash logs of my, my journey over IT.
Okay. Awesome, man. Sounds great.
It's about another minute. So.
In a minute, guys.
That's James's time.
James,
he always does the last minute.
Ends the video. No, but Jacob, I want to thank you for coming on with us, man, and just for, just barely meeting you now, but just listening to all the things that you do to help support the community and all that stuff. It's cool, and that's what attracted me to want to do this stuff so much, is like people like you really willing to share their knowledge and experience with all these people. So that's why I'm so close with everyone on the screen right now, is because they have that same mentality, really wanting to share that knowledge. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of that.
Yeah, we all love VMs and hot sauce.
Yeah. No, definitely. Anytime, and I know you had asked some question about certs. I'd be happy to do like just a full talk on experiences with various certs and what you need to prep for them, things like that.
Yeah, likewise. Maybe next week.
We should do something like that.
Yeah. We all have a few, but let's wrap it up. And then thanks again, Jacob. And we'll put you in our little group so we can keep in touch, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. Cheers. Man.
Bye.
Later.